For years, The Simpsons has been a beloved part of pop culture, known for its sharp humor and unforgettable voices. But if you've listened closely in recent seasons, you might have noticed something strange. The characters don't just sound the way they used to. So, why doesn't The Simpsons sound like they used to? Stay with us as we dig into what changed behind the scenes. In the early seasons, Homer didn't sound like a cartoon. He sounded like a tired dad trying to hold things together with coffee and a paycheck. His voice was deep and a little rough, like he had just cleared his throat after yelling at Bart for the 10th time.
You little, that's not a heartwarming thing to end on!
If you go back to the very first episode, Simpson's roasting on an open fire, you hear it right away. He's almost doing a Walter Matthau impression. That voice carried weight.
Doesn't seem possible, but I guess TV has betrayed me.
Not because it was serious, but because it felt grounded, like someone you might actually know. By the time Lisa's substitute aired in season 2, the gruffness softened just enough for emotion to slip through. When Homer said, "Do you want your old man to lose his job?" it hit harder than any shout ever could.
I'm sorry I called you a baboon, Dad.
Think nothing of it.
But something changed over the years. Somewhere between seasons 10 and 20, Homer's voice started climbing up the register, like it was running from its own past. In Money Bart, he's almost shrieking. The deep dad voice is replaced by something higher, more panicked, like a man constantly on the edge of slipping on a banana peel.
Boys don't have feelings, they have muscles.
Why do you say such ridiculous things?
It gets worse in Lisa's belly. Instead of sounding like someone overwhelmed by parenting, he sounds like someone pretending to be overwhelmed for a stage play. There's a manic speed to the way he talks, like the goal is to say all the words before his brain catches up.
I must use an entire lifetime of fatherly knowledge to help my daughter.
That shift didn't happen to Homer alone. Marge, once the queen of raspy warmth, now sounds like someone doing a Marge impression after 3 cups of coffee and a sore throat.
You think Lisa went to that jazz club I wouldn't take her to?
How many kids will jazz corrupt?
In the older episodes like Bart the Murderer or Last Exit to Springfield, her voice had weight and calmness. Even when she raised her voice, it was never sharp. It was steady, like a mother who's seen everything and can still fold laundry like Bart set something on fire. It sounded tired in a lived-in way, not in a strained way.
Homer, say something.
How much does it pay?
$30 a week.
I make more than that.
Then came episodes like Yellow Subterfuge and Habeas Tortoise, where her voice starts to thin out like it's trying too hard to be Marge instead of just being Marge. You can hear the effort now. It's like each line is a vocal marathon.
You're all acting dumb.
Dumb.
That calm, motherly tone is gone, replaced by something tighter, narrower. It's not that Julie Kavner forgot how to do it, it's just that age, overuse, and a relentless production schedule don't care about nostalgia.
This big, beautiful head is full of great ideas, just waiting to be set free.
Bart didn't escape either. In the early days, Bart sounded like a real 10-year-old, with a slingshot and a future in detention.
Must fight Satan.
In Bart Gets an F, there's mischief in his voice, a kind of reckless joy. In Stark Raving Dad, when he delivers Eat My Shorts, it sounds like he means it, and also like he just thought of it 2 seconds ago. That spontaneity made Bart feel alive.
I got a D-. I passed. I got a D-. I passed.
Now, when you listen to something like The Nightmare After Christmas or Thirst Trap, a corporate love story, it doesn't quite hit the same way. Nancy Cartwright is still talented, but time doesn't bend for voice actors either. Bart's voice today sounds like a memory of itself. The energy feels rehearsed. The rebellion feels like it's being read from a script. Even when the lines are funny, the voice doesn't carry the same bounce. It's flatter, more controlled, as if Bart knows he's in season 35 and has union-mandated vocal limits.
Starting with the true masterpiece, My Butt.
Lisa's change is maybe the most surprising. In the early seasons, her voice was soft but smart. It carried thoughtfulness, not volume. In Moaning Lisa, there's a depth to the way she talks about sadness and being different. You could hear her thinking,
Now, low B flat.
In Krusty Gets Cancelled, her tone is light but intelligent. She wasn't just reading lines, she was feeding them, even if she was only 8 years old.
Thanks for trying, Dad. That is what you were doing, right?
Fast forward to A Tree Grows in Springfield or Girls Just Sauna Have Fun, the Lisa starts to sound like someone trying very hard to sound like Lisa. The pitch is a little sharper, the delivery more theatrical, and instead of natural emotion, you get vocal punctuation marks. Every sentence feels like it ends in an exclamation point.
It's not your job to constantly comment on my appearance.
The earnestness is still there, buried under the over-articulation, but now it's harder to reach. It's as if Lisa has become a parody of the brainy girl she once was.
Oh, we're all breathing that?
Then there's Mr. Burns. His voice change might be the most tragic comic. In the beginning, he's terrifying. Not in a horror movie way, but in a this guy owns everything and likes it that way kind of way. In 2 cars in every garage and 3 eyes in every fish, he spoke slowly, every word a carefully sharpened thread. In a streetcar named Marge, he didn't need to yell. Just saying Smithers in that dry whisper was enough to make you feel like someone was about to be fired into the sun.
Not bad. Here's your candy apple, sir.
But now, in episodes like The Margian Chronicles or Pin Gal, Burns' voice sounded like it's halfway to a ghost town. It's still Charles Montgomery Burns, but it's creakier, shakier, and more like your great uncle doing a Dracula voice.
However, you will change your tune when you see the legacy I'm leaving behind me.
He's not menacing anymore. He's old in the way a Halloween decoration is old. Still kind of fun, but not scary. The pauses are longer, the vowels more exaggerated. Instead of excellent, it's excellent. Like he's testing the limits of his own patience.
I'm going to cover this town with a dome!
And if Burns has aged into camp, Smithers has slipped into full cartoon mode. Back in Colonel Homer and Lisa the Beauty Queen, Smithers had a dry sarcasm. His voice was smooth, even when he was annoying. You could tell he was being overworked and underappreciated, but he never let it show too much. That's what made the dynamic with Burns work. Burns was cold, Smithers was cool.
Mr. Burns, you're alive! I'm so happy I could hug you.
Lately, though, Smithers has gone higher in pitch and higher in devotion. In The Girl on the Bus and Carl Carlson Rides Again, he sounds like a customer service agent who just drank helium. It's not bad acting, it's just a different style. Less snark, more squeak. The subtle sighs and deadpan one-liners have been replaced by a tone that sounds more like a worried assistant from a kid's cartoon than a bitter middle manager.
Can I go now?
Yes. I just need to erase your memory.
And then, of course, there's Apu. Or rather, the space where Apu used to be. Back in Homer and Apu, or Much Apu About Nothing, Apu had a voice that was definitely exaggerated, but also consistent. Hank Azaria's performance, however controversial, was full of rhythm and timing.
You see this? I'm playing the world's smallest sitar for you.
Apu didn't just speak, he sang his lines with a kind of proud, fast-talking charm. But after Azaria stepped down, Apu was quietly retired. If he appears at all now, it's mostly in silence or with a renowned tone that barely echoes the original. There's no longer that familiar speed, that almost musical cadence. He used to talk like someone juggling 10 items behind the counter while giving life advice.
When a woman is peaceful and content, that means all hell is about to break loose.
Now when he's there at all, he feels like a background decoration. He doesn't sound different. He barely sounds at all.
I am really, really gonna miss you.
Comic book guy never needed to shout. That was part of his superpower. His voice, slow, dry, and dripping with sarcasm, could make a trip to the DMV sound like Shakespeare.
Or should I say, Foolsville.
In 3 Men and a Comic Book, he didn't speak so much as ooze words. Every line moved like molasses downhill, and that's exactly what made it sing. By the time he got to, oh, the sarcasm detector, that's a really useful invention.
You got mutton chop yet?
I don't want it.
Freaking kids.
In Worst Episode Ever, you didn't laugh because he was loud. You laughed because he was perfectly annoyed.
You mocking me? Oh, that is rich.
But then came the great Fatsby, and suddenly he sounded perkier? The sarcasm was still there, but it was now delivered at warp speed. Like he had a dentist appointment in 5 minutes and had to roast you before he left.
I love you.
In Bart the Cool Kid, he sounded less like comic book guy and more like someone doing an impression of comic book guy after 2 energy drinks. The timing was gone, the lines came too fast, the sarcasm didn't simmer, it just kinda flew by like a thrown frisbee. And the legendary slowness, the thing that gave the jokes their oomph, vanished. He wasn't alone. Dr. Hibbert got the same bug. Back in the golden years, Harry Shearer voiced him like a man who laughed at autopsies. That chuckle, slow, inappropriate, and just barely human was iconic.
I'm just kidding, but you would be dead.
In Bart the Daredevil, he laughs while casually describing a kid shattering every bone in his body. It was so wrong, it was right. He sounded like a doctor who probably knew your blood type before you did, but couldn't remember your name.
I'm afraid the bone's broken. Well, that's all of them.
Then came Dairy Queen, and boom, new voice, new vibe. Kevin Michael Richardson took over. And while it made sense, black character, black actor, the laugh became polite, friendly, safe. He didn't sound like a man quietly losing his mind in a hospital break room anymore. He sounded like someone you'd want at a PTA meeting.
So I'm gonna prescribe some Sleepy and Dopey's Children's Chewable Xanax.
The new Hibbert would never chuckle at your x-rays. He'd pat your shoulder and offer you tea, which is fine, unless you're watching The Simpsons. Even Bumblebee Man didn't make it out unscathed. In early episodes like 22 short films about Springfield, he was pure chaos. His voice was loud, slapstick, and proudly ridiculous. He wasn't a stereotype. He was a stereotype inside a cartoon about stereotypes. The joke was over-the-topness.
Tiempo para relaxar en paz y quieto.
Fast forward to the road to Cincinnati, and suddenly he's toned down, like he's reading his lines with one eye on HR. The joke now wears a helmet, a seatbelt, and 3 parental advisory warnings. It's safe, too safe, which means it's not funny. And then there's Ralph, sweet, weird space cadet Ralph. In episodes like I Love Lisa and This Little Wiggy, he sounded like a kid who had just licked a window and seen the future. I Bent My Wookie wasn't a joke. It was a cry from the heart. Ralph didn't tell punchlines. He spoke raw, beautiful nonsense.
I'm in danger.
But in recent episodes like The Incredible Lightness of Being a Baby, Ralph talks like a TikTok character. The weirdness is still there, but it's polished, fast, and oddly self-aware. I'm a Furniture sounds more like a pre-written meme than something Ralph would just blurt out while eating paste. It's like Ralph learned how to be Ralph by watching old episodes of The Simpsons, and now he's cosplaying as himself.
I'm Ralph Wiggum, and I've been a good boy.
Even the music's been infected. In Homer's Barbershop Quartet, the song slipped into the story so easily you didn't even notice you were watching a musical. The singing voices stayed true to the characters. Homer still sounded like Homer, not someone trying out for Broadway.
Baby on board, how I'm adored.
But by Panic on the Streets of Springfield, the musical numbers feel like full-blown music videos. There's auto-tune, there's production, there's enough polish to blind a bald eagle. The heart gets lost in the high notes.
Is this what I turned into?
Which brings us back to timing. The old Simpsons gave you space. In Lisa's Wedding, jokes had room to breathe. Characters paused. Silences mattered. A simple glance or a sigh could get a laugh.
It's not you, Millhouse. I just don't plan to ever get married.
Now in episodes like Habeas Tortoise, everything moves like it's late for something. Lines trip over each other. Scenes cut too soon. It's like watching someone fast forward through their own jokes. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room, the vocal cords. Time has not been kind. The original voice actors are older now, and it shows. Marge, once the queen of raspy warmth, now sounds like she's trying to whisper yell through a throat full of sand. In The Way We Was, Julie Kavner could jump from tender to furious in one breath. In Thirst Trap, a corporate love story, it sometimes sounds like her voice might file a workers' comp claim.
Homer Simpson, competitissy rock star.
Competency?
Say it again.
Homer's gone through it too. Early Homer, especially in episodes like Homer the Heretic, was chill, drowsy, and effortlessly funny. Forbidden Donut wasn't a joke. It was a feeling, a mood.
Ooh, waffle runoff.
But now, in episodes like McMansion and Wife, Homer sounds like a man trying to hit notes he hasn't seen since the 90s.
Oh! Stupid imagination.
The voice is higher, thinner, like Dan Castellaneta is chasing a ghost with a sore throat. Even Lisa's lost her groove. Yeardley Smith used to make her sound like the smartest kid in any room, quiet, serious, and just a little sad. In Lisa, the iconoclast, you believed every word. But in newer episodes like Lisa the Boy Scout, her voice tightens, pushes, and sometimes climbs to a pitch that makes you reach for the volume button. The thoughtfulness is still there, it just has to fight harder to get out. Put all this together and Springfield starts to feel different. The characters still look the same, the animation's sharper, but the voices land like someone playing karaoke with a 5-second delay. They're louder, faster, cleaner, but less real. Do you think the Simpsons still sound the way they used to? Share the changes that you've noticed. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, click on the next video on your screen. You won't want to miss it.